Alright guys, cue the Britney Spears. I bought another COD game, man. Also, completely unrelated to this decision, Blizzard doesn't refund games you've played only a few hours of and simply do not like. Yeah, that's neat. Also, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Prepare to be judged. My name is Pone, and if you hate this video, remember to subscribe, tick that notification bell, and leave yourself a thumbs up to torture yourself another time. So we are going to start with the good parts of this game in this video, but don't worry, I've got my ramp pants on, and we are going to be heading straight through Salt Mountain soon enough. Now, I enjoy a lot of this game, honestly. I give it a lot of crap, but that's the passion to me, that's the frustration, because this game doesn't match what most Call of Duties normally do, and all things considered, it's not a bad game. It's just not what I want my Call of Duty to be. Call it entitled, call it whatever you want. A lot of people share these feelings, but I'm going to break it down throughout this video. So, the combat to me is one of the best that Call of Duty has ever seen. I just really love shooting in this game. I love the combat, I love the grenades, I love every damn thing about the actual gunfights and the experience with fighting in this game. It's really good. I like the running, I love the streaks. It's probably one of my top 3 Call of Duties in terms of combat, and I really do like the actual gunfight mechanics too. So, that being said, it has a nice, robust customization system, and it's pretty much what you would expect out of COD on what can be customized, but the customization process has some really interesting pros and cons to what you equip, which means you could have a few different loadouts with the same gun, but they can be used in entirely different ways. Generally, when you make a decision on what attachment to put in, you really reinforce one or two things, like your speed, or aim down sight speed, or your accuracy. You usually have to sacrifice another trait, you know, slower movement speed, something like that, or less stability, to get that boost in another area. And with this flexibility of customization, you can have a few different loadouts with the same gun, but they be used in entirely different ways. The same gun could be built for stability, range, or even accuracy to fit different maps and playstyles. And maybe if you feel like a team is being too aggressive, you could just swap to one that's less about accuracy, more about stability, get into there with some hip fire, and the same gun can be utilized in an entirely different way. And this is honestly one of the most, I would say, slept on advances in modern shooters, in my opinion, because this helps keep a game fresh throughout its life cycle. And what I mean by that is when you have such diverse customization, so many different ways to play, it's not just 20 guns in the game, right? It's like 20 guns with 5 or 6 different ways to build. It gives you almost variance, if you will. And, you know, when I get bored of one gun, I could start experimenting and trying other loadouts and attachments on it, and I guess mix up my playstyle and keep it fresh for months to come. And again, I wish more games took advantage of this, and I'm a big fan of it, truthfully. Another thing that really baited me, and honestly it didn't bait me, and it absolutely tied me down and had its way with me, and that was the crossplay. It was the sole reason for why I bought this game. I'm not going to lie, I was not going to buy the game. I didn't play the beta. Every time somebody talked about COD or asked me in the stream, hey man, you gonna get that Modern Warfare, brah? I was like, no, because of all the disappointment I've had in the past, I wasn't going to let it do it again. It didn't deserve my money. Yeah, that worked. So, I don't know. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So it was just really hard for me to resist the ability to be able to play with my stream community, and I couldn't hold back on it. I like the idea of playing with my friends that are on PS4 and stuff on platforms I don't play, so that brought me in. And not to mention, we take a second to step away from the actual review of the game itself, this first impression. I'm happy that they made this advancement. This is huge. It's going to put pressure on other developers out there to start making crossplay a thing. Smaller games that suffer from bad launches, indie games, you know, crossplay is huge. It's going to keep the player activity strong. So, you know, games where only have a few thousand people playing across a bunch of different platforms, it's all now uniform under one umbrella, and I really want to see this go. So big thank you to them for, you know, being one of the games pioneering this advancement and making this to be normal. And I hope this puts pressure and, of course, naturally competition on the other games out there in this space to want to go ahead and follow suit as well. So, freaking good job right there, Call of Duty. I like you for that. The other big addition to this game for me was ground war. I think it was, honestly, a welcomed idea. And in a weird turn of events, Call of Duty is making Battlefield better than Battlefield is now. And, you know, you could take that how you want. Absolutely. But, you know what? Let's put this down to a vote, guys. Settle it in the comment section below. Who wore it better? Who wore it better? Who does it better? Ladies and gentlemen, does Modern Warfare's 64-man ground war better or worse than Battlefield 5's 64-man conquest? You decide. Let me know. So, moving aside, that's all I really have on my list of good. It may not have been a lot, but it was girthy at least, so we have that going for us. The game suffers from, I guess, a select few shortcomings. Visibility can be a little rough. People blend in with surrounding terrain. It can be a little complicated from time to time, but that's only on a few different maps. And, of course, balance tweaks. But these, to me, personally, are normal, and I'm not going to deduct points for this because it's something that can and will likely be changed and improved on in the next few patches, so no lashes for that one. It does, however, have one significant flaw, and it's enough for me to really just not have any interest in this game, so prepare yourselves. The salt is going to flow from this one. Now, map design. So it's not that the maps aren't beautiful. It's not like they don't have nice lanes, beautiful textures, and they're nice maps on the outside. But on the inside, they are flawed, and I'm not a big fan of them. So what's tricky with this is map design is almost never adjusted after a game's launch, and this is what's quite disappointing to me. And in this case, it would need to be done for every existing map, and that's just simply not going to happen. They're not going to fix all of these maps. What do you expect? Them to care? Come on now. I see this all over Twitter and social media right now. Everybody's like, oh, I hope the next DLC has better maps. These are terrible. No, they're not going to change. They're going to be exactly like this. And you got to prepare yourself for that. Don't be just silly and play on the false hope. A silver lining to this situation is that it really only impacts about half of the playable game types. Unfortunately, they are the most popular ones in my opinion. The Team Deathmatch, Domination, and Headquarters. These are your standard staples of Call of Duty, right? The pillars that this franchise was built on. These are your standard game types. And these are the ones that really suffer from it. The other game types, like, you know, you got your new Cyber, you got Search and Destroy. Those naturally are slower paced experiences, so they still run flawlessly. They're still excellent, wonderful games. Of course, you got 2v2 now. Ground War isn't really affected by this, so I'm still a little sad about missing out on some of my favorite activities, but it's not the end of the world. Or at least I try to convince myself. So the issue with these maps is that they were designed with way too many buildings, elevation points, and head glitches. The trifecta of disappointment right there. And what this does is not only does it enable a lot of camping, but it encourages it. And it just slows down the play because with all of these buildings, all of these rooftops and everything, it makes it for a very intimidating situation because you don't know where anyone's hiding, and as long as you provide all of this cover, all of these rooms, you got to clear the areas before you move on, because anytime you walk out in the open, and I feel this, and this is probably the biggest frustration with this game, is that every time I get to the point where I'm about to leave a building, I'm like, okay, do I want to do this? Is there another way? Because it scares me, honestly. If we're at that point, we're afraid to leave buildings or walk into the open or do anything, then you clearly have too many people camping and so some pretty serious flaws at this moment. So that's how I feel about it. You just cannot run and gun any longer, and that's what I feel Call of Duty is famous for. That's literally what it's known for. The lone wolf, the run and gun, the chaotic, no thought necessary, just push forward, simple lanes, not a lot of cover, you just kind of enjoy yourselves. And that's what Call of Duty is. This is not like that. There are just too many hiding areas, too much of a slow pace, and it's crazy. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the part that really bothers me is the fact that people are scared to go around corners, to go from one building to another, even if it's just a short distance, because every time you do, some dude in a window or on a roof or perched behind a head glitch is gonna face-X you with half a mag, and it's truly frustrating. So the workaround is to be more consistent and survive longer is you basically have to follow that playstyle. You gotta mirror the campy and passive playstyle. You have to slow down your momentum by making sure you check all the rooms and behind all the desks they can hide behind, and you have to aim before you come around every corner and so on. And what this does is it severely slows down the experience, but truthfully you can adapt, and if you do, you may actually love the game for what it is. For me personally, it's not what I expect out of a Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty for the fast-paced chaos, the run-and-gun thrill. What makes it worse is that score streaks were also replaced by kill streaks again. They brought those back, so now playing the objective doesn't carry as much weight. You don't get points for it towards your streaks. And so naturally, people just avoid them altogether, kind of like they did a long time ago, which I think is honestly a step back when you make a game a little bit like this. But this game, I just feel like suffers from some identity problem. I feel like I'm playing a game of Siege when I'm playing on like Domination or TDM. There's so many people hiding in corners or, you know, behind a head glitch or something. It's just not what you expect out of COD. And for me, that's, I don't know. It's sad. I feel like I already have enough games in my library. If I want that tactical shooter, if I want that slow-paced shooter, I can play Siege, I can play Counter-Strike, America's Army. You know, I don't need Call of Duty to be this. What I need is for Call of Duty to fit into what it's always fit into and stay what it is. Because all the other people tried to compete and tried to be like COD and they failed. They own this space. And now they're changing for what they were. They wanted to be Titanfall. Now they want to be Battlefield. Now they... You're COD, baby. You got the winning formula. Stop messing around. Bring back just the simple lanes, the limited cover. Remove the inhabitable buildings so people aren't just always hiding inside of places. Just go back to your roots, man. And as kind of an exercise right now, actually the E word kind of scares me. As an experiment, that one's a little bit better. As an experiment, I want you guys to do me a favor right now. So, I want you to take a second. Okay, now hear me out. I want you to go ahead and close your eyes, right? I want you to think of your favorite old Call of Duty map, right? You probably already have it in your head now. It's probably one that just snaps you. You have a favorite already. Now think about how many windows did it have. How about rooftops, inhabitable buildings, head glitch locations? Realistically, if you're sitting there thinking about the map, you're rolling it over in your head right now, you're probably only going to say a couple for each one of those, right? Now you compare that to this map, where we have like 200 windows, 30 rooftops, you know, a bunch of different levels in each building, and again, that changed the entire flow of the game, and that is my point. It's not that it's bad, it's just not what you expect out of a Call of Duty title. But that's it, man. That's it. Get rid of the props, get rid of those shenanigans, and I am fully behind this. Again, I love the combat. There's so many things I love about this game, but it was enough for one thing. Like, and I think it's a pretty important thing. It's a core part of this game. The pacing of a game, the flow of a game, that's huge. That's the foundation that you're messing with right there, and that was enough for me to want to put this game away, and I'm going to be uninstalling it personally. And if you guys enjoy it, I hope you guys love it. But that's it. That's the end and concludes my wine session. I don't recommend this title, and I won't be playing it again myself, but I do want you guys to do some more research, watch other videos, test it for yourself, make your own decision. For those of you that already own it, though, what do you think about it? Leave me a comment down below. Maybe you can give me a different perspective and just let me know. But ultimately, thank you for your time. Swing by a live stream sometime. That's located down in the description below. And remember that notification bell so YouTube doesn't cock block our relationship. And just have a good night. And of course, appreciate the good things like being shot in the back while playing this game.